Welcome back to the Basketball Universe channel. For this countdown, we are only going to count for the teams that played after the NBA/ABA merger, which occurred in the 1976/77 season. This is only for the modern NBA. Shout out to the Bill Russell-led Boston Celtics that had 3 different years where they had a margin of victory of over 10 points in the finals. And that's the stat we'll be using for this video. We are counting down the highest margin of victory by a team in the NBA Finals. At number 10, we have the champions of the world, the 2023 Denver Nuggets. They had a margin of victory of 8.2 points over the Miami Heat. We applaud the efforts of Jimmy Butler and the Heat, but this wasn't much of a competitive series. Although games 5 and 2 were decided by 5 points or less, the other 3 games were double-digit victories by Denver. The team that mostly everyone counted out before the start of the playoffs ended up being one of the most dominant playoff teams ever. In fact, they are only one of 14 teams throughout all of NBA history to beat their finals opponent by an average of 8 points or more. But for the modern NBA, this is only the 10th time. As you'll see, they are right in the mix with some legendary teams. At number 9, we have the 2008 Boston Celtics. They had a margin of victory of 8.33 points over the Los Angeles Lakers. This one is a little bit misleading, so let's give some context. For this 6-game series, there were 4 games where the games were decided by 6 points or less. However, what occurred in Game 6 is what pushed them into the top 10. They won the title-clinching game by 39 points. That is currently the second biggest blowout in NBA Finals history. When you destroy your opponents by nearly 40 points, it should be expected that you're going to be somewhere on this list. At number 8, we have the 2004 Detroit Pistons. They had a margin of victory of 9 points over the Lakers. The 2 times that Kobe Bryant lost in the finals, his teams got blown out. The Pistons won 3 games by double digits. Their most lopsided victory came in Game 3 when they won by 20 points. The score was 88-68. This team was best known for its defense, and they contained the Lakers to the lowest scoring game in the playoffs during the Kobe-Shaq era. That should tell us everything about how dominant the Pistons were. At number 7, we have the 2002 Los Angeles Lakers. They had a margin of victory of 9.25 points over the New Jersey Nets. At the time, everyone knew that the winner of the legendary Sacramento Kings and Lakers Conference Final Series was going to determine who was going to win the championship. The West was just that much better than the East was. This series definitely proved that, as the Lakers swept Jason Kidd and the Nets. However, it should be noted that 3 of those games were decided by 6 points or less. But in Game 2, the Lakers destroyed New Jersey by 23 points. For the most part, the Nets were able to keep things interesting, but not enough to stop the Lakers from being officially crowned the next NBA dynasty. At number 6, we have the 2009 Los Angeles Lakers. They had a margin of victory of 9.4 points over the Orlando Magic. Unsurprisingly, Kobe redeemed himself from the 2 finals defeats that we just mentioned. He proved that he was more than capable of dominating a series on the biggest stage. But this series should also come with context. 2 of those 5 games that were played went to overtime. The Magic could have very easily won those games, but they couldn't get it done in the clutch. The Lakers nearly reached the top 5 of this countdown thanks to a 25-point victory they had in Game 1 and a 13-point victory in Game 5. At number 5, we have the 1991 Chicago Bulls. They had a margin of victory of 9.8 points over the Lakers. Magic Johnson was the best player that Michael Jordan faced in the finals, and he was able to knock them out rather easily. Although Game 1 was decided in the final moments and Game 3 went to overtime, the Bulls had 2 large victories in the series. They won Game 2 by 21 points and Game 4 by 15 points. This marked the end of the Showtime era and the beginning of the Chicago Bulls dynasty. At number 4, we have the 1981 Boston Celtics. They had a margin of victory of 9.83 points over the Houston Rockets. This was Larry Bird's first championship, and he had the luxury of playing the only team that reached the finals with a losing record. To their credit, they didn't make things easy for Larry Legend, who lost the finals MVP to Cedric Maxwell. And 3 of the 6 games were decided by 5 points or less. But in the other 3 games, the Celtics won by 29 points, 23 points, and 11 points. As expected, they dominated a team that was very inconsistent throughout the year. At number 3, we have the 1983 Philadelphia 76ers. They had a margin of victory of 10 points over the Lakers. This was the first and only title that Dr. J and Moses Malone were able to win. They swept the Lakers team that had Kareem and Magic Johnson. They won Game 2 by 10 points and Game 3 by 17 points. However, it should be noted that James Worthy was absent from the series, Norm Nixon missed a game, and Bob McAdoo was out for 2 games. They would have made this series much more competitive, but there's no doubt that the better team won the title. There's a reason why the 83 Sixers are known as one of the most dominant teams in NBA history. At number 2, we have the 2014 San Antonio Spurs. They had a margin of victory of 14 points over the Miami Heat. The highly anticipated rematch of the exciting 2013 series was a bloodbath. Game 2 was the only game that was decided by single digits. The Spurs lost that game by 2 points. Other than that, it was just complete domination by San Antonio. They won by 21 points, 19 points, 17 points, and 15 points. It was arguably the greatest stretch of basketball that we've ever seen. The cutting, passing, and shooting that this team displayed were simply exquisite. It's what separated them from nearly every other team. It was a collective effort that dismantled the greatness of an individual. At the number 1 spot, we have the 2018 Golden State Warriors. They had a margin of victory of 15 points over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Unfortunately for LeBron James, he had the 2 worst defeats in finals history, even if we account for the years prior to the NBA/ABA merger. But this had nothing to do with him. His team was simply outmatched. Even when he scored 51 points in Game 1, they still lost by 10 points. Trying to beat Kevin Durant and Steph Curry in their prime was nearly impossible. And this series symbolized how unfair this team was. There was nobody that could beat this team when they were fully healthy. But before that quote-unquote winning culture stopped this team from dominating the league for the years to come, they were able to make history in many ways. In this case, they had the most dominant final series in NBA history.